The most prestigious Czech and Slovak virtual racing series is back. The best drivers from Czechia and Slovakia, competing in 12 races on iRacing. Who is going to win the championship trophy? That's Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2021. Hello and welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2021 season. We've gone from the forests of Wisconsin to the sun, surf, and sand of California for the penultimate round of the season at Long Beach. My name is Justin Sutton, and as usual, I'm joined by the wonderful Chris Buxton.
It's our last visit stateside before we go to the traditional finishing round of VGP at Suzuka. But what a circuit we've got. And it's still the LPs up front, but it's getting a commanding lead for Lucas Buxton with only 2 rounds to go. Can Lucas Buxton overhaul a now 30-point deficit? But still plenty of fighting behind, as we always say, week in, week out. And it's still true, even to the bottom of the table, as you can quite clearly see, so much for our drivers to fight over. It is going to be amazing, down to the final checkered flag next time out at Suzuka. But what a really testing circuit. It's very bumpy, and I'm really looking forward to how these single-seaters deal with it. Entropic with a very commanding lead over ERT, but certainly plenty of positions to fight behind. ESET and Lenovo have been locked in that battle all season long. Mecca training just behind them as well.
So, just having a look at Benzina Orlen, it's been a difficult few races for them. This is comparing 2020 versus 2021. The 2020 results in gray after 12 rounds. Compare that to 2021 results after 10 rounds. And you can see Martin Nadlick and Peter Kujela struggling a little bit by comparison to that previous season, but they still have opportunities to pick up some more points and to improve that standing in the championship before the final round finishes up at Suzuka.
Conversely, it is Lucas Buxton with one hand on the trophy. So, of course, if he wins, he'll take the title. If he finishes third with Lucas Buxton second or worse, he will still do it. If he finishes not worse than 1 position behind Lucas Buxton, irrespective of where that is, or if Lucas Buxton finishes 13th or lower. That is, of course, including bonus points for the fastest lap. So, very much advantage Buxton, but this circuit could well throw a spanner in the works. It's very, very bumpy and twisty, and it's going to be very difficult to keep these cars under control.
So here are the conditions that present themselves for us today. We're at Long Beach. It's 19 degrees Celsius air temperature, 36 degrees Celsius track temperature. And here is the grid. It is Lucas Buxton on pole position. And interestingly, alongside Martin Sirotek, quarter of a second off, Lucas Buxton down in 3rd position. Not ideal, but he's still in the mix. He's alongside Michael Lehman in 4th position. Then comes the other ERT racing car, David Buxton, alongside the other Entropic car on the 3rd row of the grid. I'm sure that will make things very interesting. Then we've got Hansa Rieger all the way up in 7th position. Another great qualifying for Ricard Sim, actually. Martin Nadlick up in 8th position. Good qualifying for him. Eric Vizzi a little bit higher up than I think we saw him last time out at Road America. Stanislav Senel, again, struggling in qualifying, but we've proven before he definitely goes better in the race than he does in qualifying. A little bit further back, 20 cars on the grid in total. Stepanovsky bringing up the rear on the final row of the grid for the 20 cars that we have preparing to go racing here at Long Beach. They're lined up on East Shoreline Drive. You can see that final corner just in the distance there. The lights are preparing to come on now as we prepare to go racing for the penultimate time in 2021 for the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP League, and we are go, and it looks like a number of interesting starts in the background there. The front runners all got pretty good starts. but it does look like it is going to be the Entropic car that leads the way. Will we see Lucas Pichata challenge for second position, though, into turn 1? He's done it. He's up the inside of Sirotech. He's already up into second position. That poor qualifying result by his standards anyway. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. And that's Eric Vizzi as well. Such an unfortunate bit of luck for one of our favorite drivers. We always love Eric Vizzi, but the racing still continues a little bit further back. We're not seeing the caution being thrown or anything like that. Sirotech still holding on to that third place position ahead of Michael Lehman as they descend down into turn 8 for the first time in this race and make that a long run down East Seaside Way down towards turn 9. Again, it is Podstata leading the way, but his nearest rival, his championship rival, the other LP, Lucas Pichata, right behind him. Oh, and that is some heavy damage.
Oh, no.
Yep. Moritz is definitely missing a bit of front wing there, so he's probably going to be coming into the pits, I would imagine.
Yeah, this is a circuit where you need that downforce.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got a lot of right foot going on, absolutely. But he's actually carried. Did he carry on? It looked like he continued. Did he? And I thought he did. Yeah, he hasn't come in the pits. How bizarre! Wow,
that's why.
Oh dear, oh no, that's gotten very messy down at the final turn. Stepanovsky's tripped up over a Svoboda who's standing in. Martin Svoboda really struggling to move. That's been a big on him, but that's where the pit lane entrance is. They're not just driving off the circuit for no reason. That's actually where the pit lane entrance is. But yeah, so Martin Svoboda is standing in for Thomas Prohaska, who was unable to attend the race. That's why we get to see Svoboda back with us. It's Martin Krejci, who was also...
Oh, sorry, he's stepping in for Kovarik, actually.
Oh, Kovarik. Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought it was Prohaska. But either way, we get to see... oh, yeah, beg your pardon. Sorry, Prohaska couldn't make it, and it was Peter Kovarik that's replaced by Martin Svoboda. Can't say it properly. Martin Svoboda. So, well spotted there, Justin. But yeah, one thing I was noticing, Lucas Pichata really meant business. He had an absolutely storming start.
Yeah.
Dethroned Sirotech from that second and was hustling Podstata hard until the safety car came out. So I did think we'd have trouble here. We just watching how the cars were bouncing around off the start as we're now going to see Thomas Correny. This is where all the trouble started in the final turn. Whoops, yeah, there you go. That'll do it. And because the corner's so slow, it just condenses everybody up. And that's another one of the VR Dexwin cars that can't move. Nice cheeky move
TP-Link
there.
got free.
Yeah, he did, absolutely. And lots of steam and smoke and all sorts going on there. It's because it's such a tight, slow corner that is going to happen. A few people have come out of the pits. I'm not surprised Eric Vizzi is in there for a while. My God, his car looked absolutely ruined. And that was before he even got down to turn 1, amazingly. So what on earth happened with him is a bit of a question mark. And here we go. It's now going to be fastest lap tennis going on as they come over the line slowly. So it's Vizzi and Svoboda. Oh, what a shame for Martin Svoboda standing in for Kovarik and then getting absolutely nailed on the first lap. But this is a really difficult track. Let's see what happened to Eric Vizzi.
4 wide.
Oh, he had a really good start, but sadly tangled with one of the recart cars, and has catapulted him into the wall. It's a shame that looked a really storming start from the Lenovo Legion driver.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. And just continuing on what you said earlier about Lucas Pichata, and I was just thinking about it, and you're right, he did have a storming start, and I think he needed to as well. Because we've seen now in a few races, actually, that Martin Sirotech is one of those drivers that likes to use his push-to-pass nice and early in the race and have a really, really strong start to his race. And that's Eric Vizzi just going very slowly through turn 1. Oh, yeah, that looked like he was almost on full lock on one wheel.
While the other wheel coming out of the pits. He's just pitted, so he hit the wall coming out.
I don't, or his damage is so bad that, you know, even after the repairs, he's still having issues. I'm not entirely sure, but it does look like Svoboda has made his way out of the pits as well. Who knows if he's able to continue? I don't know if he's got damage on the same scale as Vizzi does,
yeah.
Which would be unfortunate if true. But yeah, you're just. On that previous topic, yeah, Lucas Pichata, I think, really needed that really good start. because Sirotech was probably going to plan to use quite a bit of push-to-pass just to maintain that second-place position for a few laps, and that could have potentially allowed Podstata to take off, and that is Martin Nadlik, who I believe we spotted earlier as missing a bit of front wing, and is that him positioning? No, that was one of the Recart cars. Yes,
that's
and
a lot
I think
of people in.
Yeah, a number of cars now coming in. That's Moritz, Nadlik, Sikora, Korony, Vakulchek, all coming into the pit. Stepanovsky has stayed out. That's good news for the Big Shock driver. He's going to pick up a few positions when the race resumes, and that is Eric Vizzi coming right back into the pits. And yeah, I'm going to assume that the damage was just too bad, which is unfortunate because if they can't repair the car beyond that, then certainly that's probably going to be the end of the race for Eric Vizzi. We hope and we pray that that is not the case, but we will keep an eye on that. But yeah, an incredible amount of cars. Only 11 cars are actually circulating at the moment. The rest are in the pits, and potentially some of those people in the pits, it may be for good.
Oh,
that's the pit lane.
Yeah.
If it's confusing at all for people.
Yeah, that is, it does look a bit strange because there's no pit boxes on there, but yeah, that's not the start-finish line. They haven't just parked and decided to watch from there. No, that is indeed the pit lane. Oddly, the lights on the safety car is off, despite the fact we still have a few cars sitting in the pits. Okay, well, the safety car has decided that it's still got quite a way to go before it comes in fairness, so I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Vizzi has opted to park his car. We don't really know what happened to car. Well, Jan Sikora certainly. I'm not sure what's happened to him. We will see. But the safety car has been a regular feature of these Indy cars. Now, that's not because the drivers are bad at these cars. It's because these cars are very, very hard to hang on to. And the tracks that we've been to have been, for a lot of it, very, very testing. Of course, Monza, slightly less so, but Spa, very testing. Silverstone, oh yeah, very testing. So we've seen the safety car come out quite regularly. And of course, last time out, Road America is no exception to that. So it's not a case of people driving badly, but it's just the way that the mistake is so easy to make, especially here, this track being so bumpy. We'll see how our drivers deal with the safety car restart. It's just Eric Vizzi in the pits, and I'd be surprised if he comes back out, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I think that's his new permanent residence in Long Beach, unfortunately. But we are preparing to go racing once again, hopefully for a little bit longer time, as Podstata puts his foot down as he gets the cars going once again. And look at that, a great start for Podstata, equally good start for Lucas Pichata. Martin Sirotech caught napping ever so slightly, but not quite as much as Michael Lehman. You can see who's actually a full second back on Sirotech already. Sirotech has managed to close that gap down. So yeah, the biggest gap at the moment between third and fourth, but it does look like Michael Lehman is really standing on the loud pedal to try and close that gap down, make sure he's picking up the slipstream. That's Krejci just getting out of the way for Sikora there. That was an interesting one. I'm not entirely sure what caused that incident, if something happened between the two of them, but yeah, no surprise there. Eric Vizzi in the Lenovo Legion has retired from the race. Really, really unfortunate. I was looking forward to him doing some really nice midfield battling. I don't think he was going to be challenging for the podium positions unless there was some atrocious attrition. But yeah, I was still looking forward to his battles. Here we go, between the Benzina and the Big Shot, going side by side. Oh, around the outside for Peter Kujella at turn 9. Gets the inside line for turn 10 as well, and that is truly lovely stuff there. Stepanovsky, I'm not sure if he just wasn't trying to fight that too much or what the deal was, but Michael Lehman now setting fastest lap, 107.4. Keep in mind that was with a race restart, so certainly that will be beaten next time around. Moritz a little bit further down, 13th from where he started. That's unfortunate. We saw a TP link in the background there. I think that was Sikora diving into the pits again, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was.
Indeed, great shame. Jan Sikora's race has gone from bad to disastrous this time around. There is Nadlik, who is on the back of Stepanovsky that he's currently chasing. What a move from Kujella. It's brave to do an outside manoeuvre here, because the barriers, as you can quite clearly see, are ready and waiting with open arms for anybody to make a mistake. So the top three still fairly close together. It does look like Michael Lehman is trying his best to close in a bit on the gap ahead. See how well he's able to hang on to that. And these cars will slide around a bit, even though they're probably running a lot of downforce on these cars, because there's several quite decent speed corners here where that downforce is really, really going to come into effect. But like I say, the mistake is very easy to make and the barriers are very unforgiving. What has happened to Jan Segura? Let's see, that's one of the VR Dexfin cars on the left of the shot. You saw the tail. The tail got very loose going into the Firestone turn there. It's just, and by the time you've realised and corrected, you have no chance of saving it from the wall.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate incident, but you could kind of see it mid-corner even as he was coming up to the apex. Oh no! And the barriers have claimed another victim. Alish Danda's front left wheel is well, it's not on correctly. It is still attached. Technically, it is technically attached still, but not in the way that would actually help him to get around the lap in any sort of way. So that's going to bring the number of cars into the pits up to 3 now. Again, Vizzy's in there permanently. He is not coming back out. He gave it his best, and that's one of the reasons that we do love Eric Vizzy so much, is that he will fight right until the end, and he did. He tried to go back out there, but it just did not work for him. Oh goodness! And that is Sikora coming out of the pits just ahead of Potsdata and Pichata, so that would be unfortunate. Let's go on board with Thomas Corney, who had a fantastic start. Holy cow! And that's going to be Eric Vizzy clattering the wall on the left-hand side. He manages to get by him, gets by a couple more cars who I think were slowing down as a result of that Vizzy incident. He's got the inside line going into turn 1, but then the Benzina Orland re-overtakes that position on him around the outside. But still, a lot of positions gained there for Thomas Corney, which unfortunately he did end up dropping back into 16th position after all was said and done, but still a great start for him. Now this is interesting. These two, Hora and Rieger, have developed their own kind of personal battle here. They're 7 seconds ahead of Martin Nadlick in 9th position, but 4 seconds behind the top 6. So the pair of them, these two here, are very much alone already. We've still got 42.5 minutes remaining in this race, but they really have found a quiet bit of track for the two of them. Hopefully that means that they're going to have some really nice, respectful racing with one another, and they're not going to get totally desperate and make some really bold moves, because it is very difficult to overtake here. As you said, they are going to have lots and lots of downforce on the cars, but you're so slow through a lot of these corners. Look, I mean, it was 120 kph through that right-hander. I think that was turn 4. It was turn 4. 120 kph through there. I mean, 80, 75, less than 70 kph through there. You're not really getting much downforce at 70 kph, are you?
No, but you've got several places where, the downforce is really going to take a bit more of an effect. So here, for instance.
Right there, yeah, that's a good one.
As we're coming onto Seaside
Turn
Way.
10.
Yeah, so as this is Thomas Hora, we're on board with chasing Jan Rieger, coming down into Firestone Turn. Now, this has already claimed a few people. Downforce is still in effect here. The Indy left, which is this one. And that's not a surprise either.
Nope.
Alish Danda we saw with the wheel hanging off. So 2 cars down with 20 minutes gone. Sorry, a few minutes gone. So we'll hopefully have some people finishing the race. I'm
going to guess at least 2 of them, and their initials are probably LP.
LP. Speaking of, there is our top 2. In fairness, the cameraman is doing his best to try and keep up with the battles, and they are absolutely everywhere. With the way that the safety cars have been and incidents going on, as Krejci making a move on Stepanovsky for 13th position. Fairly straightforward manoeuvre coming down the start-finish straight and into this tight and twisty section. It's, as we said before, this track is very difficult with very difficult cars to drive. So, I don't envy these guys. It makes the commentary box seat that little bit more comfortable.
You could see the bumpiness there as he was going over the apex at turn 5. The car just wants to unsettle. The track is trying to unsettle the car at all moments of the lap. It's truly incredible. Thomas Hora really is positioning himself now. He really does seem like the quicker of these two drivers. You can see his last lap only 0.04 of a second quicker than Jan Rieger, but of course that is because he does have that Ricart Sim car ahead of him, that's sort of keeping him to a delta of sorts. But yep, past the start-finish line, down towards turn 1 once again. No push to pass being used. I'm a little surprised about that. Certainly it seems like Hora is a bit more confident under brakes, taking a little bit more curbing there through the as you go past the fountain. Again, quite a bit of curbing at the inside line there. Both of them using a pretty good amount of curbing there, actually, at turn 5. But he just seems a little bit more comfortable, so I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the very near future we see Thomas Hora go for a push-to-pass overtake. But I think he's going to be eagle-eyed about this. He's going to keep an eye on the rear end of that Recart sim car, and if he sees just a little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 8 or turn 11 or something like that, I think that's when we'll see him deploy that push to pass. Up at the front, though, by the way, it is still the 2 LPs, but Martin Sirotek is right there with him, and so is Michael Lehman, actually. So now the top 6 have started to split a little bit into the top 3 and then the next 3 after that. And look at that, Lucas Pachada is getting very, very close to the back of Lucas Podstata. But again, Sirotek right on the back too. This is very interesting.
Yeah, Martin Sirotek is having a storming run. Now, again, he's had very, very up and down season. He has seen the podium, but he hasn't seen it since the GT3 days. So, the single-seater phase has not really favoured him. He retired from Silverstone, and his best in the single-seaters, I think, has been 6th. He's done twice. So, this phase of the season has not gone well for Martin Sirotek, so this would be a great result if he can claim the podium. He's got a long way to go yet before that is the case. We see Lucas Pachada really getting close to Podstata. I was watching them last time around. They take very different lines through very key corners.
Yes.
And particularly that, the right-hander, which is Firestone Turn. We've seen a few people lose wheels and what have you on. They take very different lines through there, but that seems to favour Podstata. But then Lucas Pachada reels him in through the rest of the lap. So I think Lucas Pachada is going to have to get creative if he's going to try and get past the Entropic car.
Surely something with the pits would be beneficial as well. He might try an undercut or an overcut potentially. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. We're coming up to we're below 40 minutes left on the race clock, so certainly we are getting closer and closer with every passing lap to that pit stop phase. And certainly Lucas Pachada needs a win here. I mean, second place just is not going to cut it in terms of the championship. He's only got 2 opportunities remaining in terms of ways to score championship points. And he desperately needs a bit of bad luck, really, for Podstata, because, of course, Lucas Podstata he won 3 races in a row for the first time. I don't know if you picked up on that already, Chris, but for the first time this season, we had a winner win 3 races in a row, and there you can see the championship as they stand at the moment. If they were to finish like that, it would be a 35-point gap at the end of this race with 1 race to go. Meanwhile, looking a little bit further back, Thomas Hora still on the back of Jan Rieger. Is he using the push to pass? He is using the push to pass, actually. Jan Rieger is going to go defensive into turn 1. He's going to hug that inside line, and he is going to maintain that position. Gets very, very close to the barrier, and Thomas Hora has to maintain that position for the meantime. And of course, now that means he's got 1 less push to pass, because Jan Rieger didn't use push to pass to defend that position. So every time that happens like that, that's just going to shift the advantage ever so slightly over to Jan Rieger in that Recart sim car.
Yeah, yellow and black seems the optimum colours for these particular this particular battle going on. Oh, that looks a bit of a mistake from Thomas Hora there. You can see that how much that tiny mistake gave to Jan Rieger in that particular battle, and there it is on board with the big shot car. And that's, as you can see from the middle part of the display, that's half a second, but he was right on the Recart car gearbox. So that's how one tiny little mistake can completely change the race even at this stage. So, and there you just seen there how a good exit from that final turn can just basically help you defend all the way down the start-finish straight. As long as you get a decent exit from there, the rest of the lap becomes a little bit easier to defend. That big, bold move on the inside of turn 1 can be, one of the best opportunities to overtake here. Being that it's such a difficult circuit and there's not all that many big, heavy braking zones, and overtaking is made that much more difficult. We're seeing that's why Martin Nadlik is bouncing all over the tower. That's why that's looking a little bit confusing. I was like, how on earth he suddenly got up to the top? No, he hasn't. It's just what would essentially be a transponder problem there. But what we haven't seen, what we have seen time and again in previous races, is Postata dancing off into the distance. It really does look like Lucas Pichada has got I won't say a pace advantage, but certainly no pace deficit that we've seen time and again from the ERT Racing ace. And this time, is he a bit closer? No, every single time Lucas Postata just gets a good enough exit from that final turn to build up about half a second worth, and then it comes down to around about 3.5 tenths before they hit turn 1. Oh, this is someone that didn't get a good exit from the final turn. That'll be Kujela in the Benzina rolling car as Stanislav Senol around the outside. Oh, that gets a bit close, but if he can hang on to that one, he'll have the inside line of turn 1. We've repeatedly seen those trees, and then into turn 1. There we go.
Ooh.
So he almost introduced himself to the tyres. He's got 4 on his cars. He doesn't need any more. And carries on going. So nice move, Len, from Stanislav Senol.
Yeah, very nice move. I just got the feeling that he was still braking as he was clipping the apex for turn 1. Oh, okay. And that is how Martin Nadlick ended up back into the pit lane once again. And I think he is probably going to be joining Alish Danda and Eric Vizzi in there as a new permanent resident of East Shoreline Drive. That is, yep, and there is that confirmation. And you can see, actually, Martin Sirotek using push to pass again. That's not the first time. I saw him using push to pass either on the last lap or the lap prior. But he is starting to drop off the back now, I think. Maybe he's just using the tires a little bit more compared to the two ahead of him, and now he's starting to struggle because he was not using push to pass in the opening laps in order to keep up to the back of these two. But as the fuel burns off and as the rubber gets older, it seems that the advantage is starting to shift to Postata and Pichada. You can just about see Michael Lehman in the background there. David Pichada, more than 3 seconds adrift from this battle. Still about 1 second ahead of Matuszek in the other Entropic car as well, just out of shot. You can kind of just see them in the distance here as they make their way down East Seaside Way, down towards turn 9. One of the few good overtaking locations. I use that term very relatively as they make their way through the slowest part of the corner. I mean, you're going about 30-35 miles an hour through that final corner. Incredibly slow, less than 50 kph. So yeah, very, very slow that final corner, especially on old tires, especially on heavy fuel. Very, very difficult. But Sirotek not using any push to pass that time. I didn't see the push to pass thing pop up anyway that time. So it seems he's had a little bit of a better lap. He's able to cling on to the back, but it does seem that he's using the push to pass potentially defensively to stay ahead of Michael Lehman, or to just try and stay in that slipstream. Of course, you don't get a ton of dirty air, as we were talking about. A lot of these corners are too slow to generate too much downforce to get too much of a dirty air effect. You do get some dirty air effect through some corners, of course. Certainly, turn 8 that we just went through, that's one of those corners where you would be feeling the effect of the car ahead of you ever so slightly. But then you do get a nice little bit of a toe on the run down toward turn 9. You start braking so early, though. It's crazy. You know, we're used to commentating proper circuits a lot of the time. And, you know, you're like, oh, your braking zone is at 100 to 150 meters or something like that. Here at Long Beach, you're braking for corners 300-400 meters before the corner, just because it's so bumpy and so, you know, difficult to get the thing slowed down and everything. So it is truly a unique challenge this week for these drivers.
Absolutely. But it is a challenge they've all embraced pretty well. So we haven't had any more major incidents. Now I've said that, expect someone to be in the wall in the next few laps. Wow, that ERT car looked like he got a little bit squiggly coming through. Was at turn 5, I think that is.
I think he lost some time, yeah.
Yeah, he has lost a little bit, but it's so easy to do, as we've said before. But it does. I'm just surprised that Podstarter's not been able to run off into the distance. But either way, he doesn't have to. He just has to finish ahead of Lucas Pichada. If Podstarter wins, the gap becomes insurmountable for Lucas Pichada to be able to overcome. There's 25 points for the win, and it would become over 30 points. So Podstarter doesn't have to do anything more than what he's already doing. So, you know, it's up to, you know, the ball once again is in Lucas Pichada's court. We'll see what he can do. But does Pichada have a bit of a pace advantage? It's difficult to tell at this stage. It could. We also don't know if they're just saving. They're saving their push to pass. They're just going through the motions. Bear in mind, a lot of these people still have to pit for the tyre change. We haven't seen that yet. You alluded earlier, Justin, that's maybe where we're going to see the biggest change happen. You just saw from that shot is just how close to the wall they get, and they're doing this lap after lap after lap after lap. Of course, it hasn't worked well for everybody, as we well know. I'm looking at you, Alexander. But this is what I love about these guys. They are just so incredibly consistent. They're doing lap times that we mere mortals can only dream of. Just a handful of pixels away from the wall, time and time again. It's absolutely fantastic to see. And there we go. I tell you what, I would have loved to have seen was Podstarter versus Schmidl. Wouldn't you have liked to see that?
Ah, yes. That would be fantastic. I would enjoy that very, very much. Maybe one day we can get like a Hall of Fame race together or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I swear we didn't plan this out. This has genuinely, organically come up in conversation. This was not planned or anything like that.
No.
But yeah, it would be kind of cool to see VGP stars of the past, coming back to just to see how they. Now, of course, the difference is Podstata has been practicing and working on his setups all season and stuff like that. If you just drop Michael Schmidl into, or Martin Stefanko, or any other of the wonderful drivers that we've had come through VGP in the past, if you just drop them in one of these cars today, they would probably be a little bit off the pace, just because you need that practice and stuff. You don't get to be this good by not practicing. Oh, there's a bit of a change of position there. Thomas Corney making his way past Vakulchek in the VR and Dex Fin. That's for 14th position, just inside the points-paying position still. So yeah, I mean, we rate Michael Schmidl hugely. I mean, I saw him doing quite well in another series, actually, not that long ago. I just saw him being very successful, actually, in his latest endeavor. So I have no doubt. But yeah, to be at the level that Podstata is at, that Pachata is at, that even Siratek and Michael Lehman are at right now out on track, you got to put in hours and hours of practice and stuff like that. So huge respect to these guys, especially because, as you said, to do this lap over and over for the better part of an hour, that is difficult stuff. Really, really, truly difficult. This is a tough old track. Is that Krejci actually coming into the pits? It does look like that is valid. So we know sometimes it'll pop up with the pit sign to let you know someone's gone near the pit entrance, but I believe that one is legit. Vakulchek is also going to come into the pits as well, so it does seem that the pit window is firmly open at this stage. That's Jan Sikra using some push to pass. He's a couple of laps down, and this is Riga versus Hora, which we've taken a little bit of a break from, but I'm delighted to say absolutely nothing has changed. Hora is still right behind him.
On board with second place Lucas Pachada as Michael Lehman has come in from 4th position for Mecca Wolf. There he is. So one of the front runners now coming in for their pit stop, close to the halfway point of this race, along with well, there we go. There's the battle we just talked about. Jan Riga has brought his car in. His stablemate Thomas Hora didn't come in. So this will be interesting.
Push to pass too.
Yeah. Now this will be interesting to see if Thomas Hora had a bit of a pace advantage, because he was able to stick to the back of the Big Shot car for so long, the Ricard car for so long. If he does have a pace advantage, this will be the time he needs to utilise it. As they're coming back out of the pits fairly quickly. Still watching Lucas Pachada chasing off after the Podstarter. I remember once saying, I wonder if Schmidl translates into machine. What on earth does Podstarter translate it into? Undefeated or something like that. In fairness, he hasn't won every single race, but he has won. Whoa! Great. God, that's so tight. That pit lane entrance is so tight. Oh my, I winced when they were coming in. Now it really is. They're almost side by side of the pit lane, for goodness sake. Have a break, will you? Now this is interesting. The other Entropic car has taken over the lead. It's not the first time Matuszek's led.
Okay.
They're fighting in the pit lane.
Yeah. I was confused for a brief moment. Again, the pit lane does very much look like the actual racetrack here at Long Beach, so it does get a little bit confusing. But there they go, out of the pits. They are going to be side by side. That's Matuszek on the right-hand side, Lucas Pichota on the left-hand side. It does look like Matuszek is going to be able to accelerate. Podstata. He's going to be able to accelerate a little bit quicker. Yes, and he did. So I mean, it looks so close at that speed when you're on the pit lane limiter. Oh, look at that! That is so close. Michael Lehman just unfortunately getting caught out by the VR and Dexfin car, and that is unfortunately going to put a little bit of a hamper on him. But he did manage to get by Sirotech. Look at that! Sirotech's actually behind the VR Victoria and Dexfin car. So Michael Lehman has managed to do an overtake. Here's Matuszek. This is the Entropic car that I accidentally was talking about, but he's going to be coming into the pits after this lap. We'll see what happens between him and David Pichota, because remember, he was fighting against David Pichota in the other ERT racing car. It is very much ERT versus Entropic here at Long Beach, and but at the moment, it definitely does seem to be advantage Podstata. I am a bit surprised to see them pit at the same time. I thought for sure that we were going to see Lucas Pichota go for something different, just to try and catch out the current championship leader, because now he is going to have to make that overtake on track, on board with Michael Lehman as he does retake that what it will effectively become third place. But if not for that man, Moritz still out there in the recart, still on his first stint, takes over the lead by just over 3 seconds, and I wonder if that could play into the hands of Lucas Pichota, the fact that that recart car is now in the lead.
Michael Lehman's doing very well in this race. Now, he's had a better season in the single-seater, although a little bit up and down. It didn't start well for him, but he was second in Monza. So it has given him some success, but he's right on the tail of Lucas Pichota, isn't he?
Push the pass.
And there we go. Is he going to challenge for the... He is, and that's forced Lucas Pichota into a defensive manoeuvre. Oh, he's got him. What a move. Now, he's on softer tyres as well, I've just realised. And now, Michael Lehman's gone on to them because he's been in.
It was a 2-stop last time out.
True enough. Called me out last time, so we'll see how that goes. And wow,
he's doing it again.
Yeah, Podstata felt the need to defend straight away. Michael Lehman is using those soft tyres to the best of his ability, and wow, Michael Lehman has just taken the lead. Now, I mean no disrespect to Michael Lehman because he's having a storming race, but when was the last time you saw Podstata overtaken on track?
Yeah. Never? No, it's definitely exactly happened. That. It must have happened at some point, but yeah, I'm struggling to remember a moment. And I do feel like, yeah, that has really energized now this battle between Pichota and Podstata. I don't know if that's lit a fire underneath Lucas Pichota's seat, or if that's just thrown off Podstata to have a car in front of him a little bit, because obviously that would be a bit of a new experience for him, considering his successes, especially the 3 on the trot victories that he's had in the IndyCar here. So maybe that's just thrown him off a little bit, but it really does seem Michael Lehman taking the lead of the race really does seem to have shaken up the sort of dynamic between the two LPs here.
Does seem to be, and look at that! Look at Michael Lehman.
Another push to pass. He's going for it.
That's Podstata that's got that one. Fastest lap of the race. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's over a second. And Michael Lehman has managed to build up. Yes, he's on the softer tyres, but he needs to do it. If he needs to pit again, which I'm assuming he's going to have to, because I can't see that he's going to make those tyres last another 20 minutes, nor this kind of pace. Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's really, really good performance from Michael Lehman. And Podstata, he knew that one was done. He didn't try and defend fresh air. He didn't try and shut the door with Michael Lehman in it. He realised that one was done. But again, we saw last lap, Lucas Pichota was right on top of Podstata again. And now the Entropic car has got himself a bit of a gap. Probably the biggest gap he's had over his main rival all race long. It's about a second now between the Entropic and ERT racing cars. So, is Podstata thinking, I can't let Michael Lehman run off too far? But if he pushes too hard, he himself will be in the walls. So he's got to be careful how he goes about the rest of the race. But still, 20.5 minutes to go. There's still plenty of time for this race to still change direction yet again.
Yeah. and certainly, you know, this is one of those tracks that can really, really quickly change things around. Because, I mean, as we saw from Martin Nadlick, you just get your braking a little bit wrong into turn 1, and you're going to have a very bad time. Your car is going to be just a collection of rubber and metal and carbon fiber and not much else at the end of the start-finish straight, which, by the way, is not much of a straight, by the way. It turns right almost the entire time that you're accelerating. Now, Lucas Pichota did drop off the back of that Entropic car pretty significantly, as you pointed out, Chris. It was like a second, but he has clawed that back rather substantially through the beginning part of this most recent lap. Got that down to just a couple of tenths as they were making their way through 5, 6, and 7, and that kind of middle part of the lap. But into the final couple of corners they go, and Lucas Pichota is right back onto the back of that Entropic car as they make their way through the slowest corner on the circuit. You see, I saw 46 kilometers per hour they got to for a moment there. So actually, that would be less than 30 miles per hour, I believe, if my maths are correct on that one. So, yeah, very, very slow corner, which does make hitting that push-to-pass button a little bit scary, especially because you're in first gear as you're coming out of that. I would imagine that the drivers are waiting, you know, maybe counting a 1/1000 before they hit that push-to-pass button coming out of the final corner.
Indeed, and 3.5 seconds now, Michael Lehman is gap. So he's obviously trying to build up a pit stops gap so he can change those tires a bit later on. But absolutely brilliant stuff from the Mecha Raw Force Sim car. We watch again, and Jan Seeker is out. Ah, that's a shame. This race has been so hard for the TP Link cars. Sadly, he is parted. So another one has fallen by the wayside.
And such
16
a veteran.
Survivors.
Such a veteran, too. For this track to claim a veteran like Jan Sikora, holy cow, that means that things are pretty bad.
Yeah, it just underlines how hard this track is to deal with. As these guys come out of the last corner once again and continue to start another lap. So, yeah, 30 laps already gone. My goodness me, this again highlights how short the lap is. But now we saw that Michael Lehman was able to get into the 107s, and last time around Podstarter was a 108.6. So, and wow, Podstarter's used quite a few more
than I realized.
Yeah, quite a few more than Lucas Pichota, and Lucas has still maintained. That's probably why the gap built up to about a second last time around. It's good deployment of push to pass, but again, Lucas Pichota is having a really strong race compared to Podstarter, but you expect him to have that strong race with the performances we've seen all season long. And again, Lucas Pichota has been a consistent podium scorer, certainly in the single-seater phase of the season, but he has had those two bad results. We keep referring back to Zolder, but that's the one that's going to haunt him the most. That's one he finished in 15th, or was classified in 15th, and even in Daytona he was classified in 6th. So that was a comparatively bad race for him, considering he's been on the podium on every other race.
Yeah, it's been an incredible season actually for Lucas Pichota. You know, what else can you say? I mean, he's done nearly everything that you need to do to be a champion. The only problem is that Lucas Podstarter has done it that little bit better, just that tiny little bit better, and it may be down to luck. It absolutely could just be down to luck, but. And I don't mean that Podstarter has just been lucky. I'm just saying if you have two drivers of equal skill, one who's a little bit lucky and one who's a little bit unlucky in that season, well, then the slightly luckier one is going to be the one who wins. You know, any racing driver will tell you that. You need the rub of the green. You need that little bit of luck if you want to win a championship. And unfortunately, Lucas Pichota has not had that luck. He's had that skill. He's had the pace that he needs. But, yeah, as you said, just a couple of bad results have really hindered him. I mean, he's the only other driver to have actually won a race. He did actually win back-to-back races at one point during the season as well, too. I mean, it wasn't until the 3 most recent races that Podstarter had won more than 2 races in a row. So, and if he wins this one, that will be 4 races in a row. But I'm going to be honest, coming into this, I thought for sure Lucas Pichota is definitely not going to allow that to happen. And I'll be honest, actually, now that we know how many push-to-passes they have, that's kind of reinvigorated, in my mind anyway, that Lucas Pichota does still have a shot at this. You know, it's not just 15 minutes of Podstata leading Pichota around with a gap of less than 1 second. No. That ERT car has 3 more push to pass, if memory serves. I believe it was 7 to 4. 3 more push to pass is not an insignificant amount.
No, indeed. But it's all about how they deploy it and keeping out the dreaded walls. Because, you know, the longer into the race they get, the more, you know, fatigue they potentially face. And you've got to think that Podstata's been under this much pressure all race long, and it will take its toll, even on the very best. It will take a toll. So if he makes one tiny mistake, well, we've seen it repeatedly, haven't we? We've seen 3 cars already out of the race, and other mistakes that other people have made and managed to recover from. Oh, look at these two, they're back again. Riger and Horo once again, same positions they were in before, and still fighting for 7th position. And fair play to them. They are not giving up at all. Their last laps around, 2/10 difference in Thomas Horo's favour rather. But you know, neither of them giving any quarter, and it's so far. I say so far so good. I mean, they've been involved in a brilliant fight already. Craich is in again, so another pit stop. So that's his 2nd stop. It does look. I would think, yeah, like you said earlier, it's going to be a 2-stop strategy for most. There will be those that try and stretch it out, because there's always those that try and stretch it out. But we'll see how that goes. See how that transpires. Yeah, Thomas Horace, he must be getting pretty fed up staring at the back of that Ricart car by now.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And just on the topic of tires, it is worth pointing out that the slower a track is in terms of the speed of the corners, the more benefit you get from the mechanical grip of a softer tire compound. So just like how in Monaco you get more lap time as a percent anyway, by going to a softer compound of tires than you do at Spa, because you know, Spa is just a lot faster. You're just relying a lot more on the aerodynamics. Absolutely, the tires matter always, but the less aerodynamics involved, the more important that mechanical grip from the tires and indeed the suspension as well too. The more important that sort of thing is, and also for a track like this where it's so bumpy, getting your suspension settings right is critical. And not just for getting the car slowed down and turned through the corners, but also just to feel that confidence in the car as well too. Just, I mean, you know, we could all kind of break around the same points, you know, if you watch the track guide, the lap guide, for example, you know, you can break at pretty similar points to a lot of these guys and stuff like that, but you would have a really hard time doing it lap after lap after lap. This is also where having a little bit better hardware as well too. When you have a track like this that's very bumpy and technical and stuff like that, if you have you know, a little bit better feeling through your hands in terms of the force feedback and stuff like that, that can pay dividends as well too at a track like this. So again, it just really highlights kind of the unique challenge that this circuit offers. That's, you know, totally different compared to the track. Well, compared to the track we just came from, for example, Road America, totally different beast.
Yeah, absolutely. You can afford to take a few more risks with Road America, but even still, we saw that track bite pretty damn hard because of the just raw speed that you get around Road America. Then we just seen there, we saw that different lines being taken as we see one of the big shot cars. Stepanovsky. Yeah, Stepanovsky is doing the right thing, staying right out of the way, and coming into the pit. Fair enough. So you saw the different lines being used, and that seems to be where the biggest difference has been. Oh, there's David Ricciardo on the back of Sirotek, and for some reason Sirotek jumped out of the way. We've seen that a few times, haven't we? People seen just getting out of the way.
Maybe he knew he had the push to pass or something, so he said that it's not even worth fighting. And also, going side by side into turn one seems pretty scary.
True enough. But I mean, that's a full position. It struck me as a bit odd, but oh well, these guys know what they're doing. They will carry on on the merry way. So it's David Ricciardo up in the 4th position. It's a good position for him to be in. David Ricciardo's had a rough, really, really rough part of the season. Certainly in the single-seater phase, not finishing in Silverstone, Spa or Monza, and only 9th last time out at Road America. So this will really help kind of rebuild his confidence a little bit with the second of the Ricciardo brothers, working his way through the final few turns. He's chucking that car around quite a bit. We've seen the tail wagging quite a bit on the second ERT Cup. He's trying to break away from Martin Sirotec, actually successfully breaking away from Martin Sirotec indeed. But yeah, I'm a little confused on why we're seeing drivers kind of getting out of each other's way. Maybe there was an incident before when we got up with them. Maybe maybe there was a nudge or something like that caused the overtake to happen. We don't know. They know what they're up to. But still, Lucas Ricciardo just cannot find that extra bit he needs. He's got a back marker on his tail. I think that is Kreitzer.
I think so.
That is the Mecha Orphosim car on the back. Well, I mean, why not? Use the slipstream of a leader to help you catch up with those ahead. Why not? It's perfectly legal, as long as you don't interfere with the cars ahead of you. He could try and unlap himself. That is within the rules. But the only ruling is as long as you do it without impeding the car you're unlapping yourself from. And I'm not really sure that Lucas Ricciardo is quite enjoying having a car right on his tail. But either way, if it is Kreitzer that's there, and I'm pretty sure it is, then he's not breaking any rules by doing so, as long as he doesn't put Lucas Ricciardo off.
Yeah, exactly that. And by the way, I noticed the lap times down at the bottom of the screen for the top 3. And you'll notice Lucas Ricciardo actually slowest there, but only a 10.5 slower than Podstata. But look at that, Podstata a 10th quicker than Michael Lehman running in fresh air. So that tells me that these harder compound of tires that Podstata and the Pichata brothers and Sirotec and Matuszek are all on, those are starting to come good now at this stage. And Michael Lehman's soft tires are starting to fall off as we go on board with the current race leader and Mecha All-4 Sim driver Michael Lehman. He put in a 108.3 last lap, just under a 108.4. He's got a... who is that ahead of him, actually? That's an ESET car. It's got to be it's got to be Corney. Yep, that is indeed. That's Thomas Corney just ahead of him. So he might pick up a little bit of a slipstream here. Less than 8 minutes remaining, though. At this stage, I'm wondering if he's coming into the pits again.
I don't reckon he is. I reckon he's going to stretch that out. Well, will we finally have someone that doesn't have... Well, he has a second ignition available. So he's partly following the rule, but no, well, will we finally have a different race winner this time around? We will see. With 7.5 minutes remaining. It would be on full merit. He didn't inherit the lead.
No.
He got the lead from Podstata and he just went. He just vanished off into the distance. Absolutely fair play, and that would be a brilliant performance from Michael Lehman. Like I say, he has been on the podium a couple of times, but only once in the single seater, which was at Monza. So it's been a bit of an up and down season. So what a great way to kind of rebuild some confidence in him. He didn't finish last time out in Road America. Oh, steady! Yeah, there's a big sign that the tyres.
You saw it.
Yeah, how could you not? So he's got about 6-ish laps to go. It's just over a minute, as you can see, 108.3. So 108.2. I mean, that was even quicker than his previous lap, even though he was drifting around to one of the slower corners. So Michael Lehman is still really giving it plenty of beans, even though his tyres are starting to give up on him. So yeah, I reckon he's not going to see the pit lane again.
Yeah, it's certainly looking like that. Or when okay. All right, that's where you take a chill pill. That's where I would back off just a little bit, and that's why we're not racing drivers.
Yeah,
because that would I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I would love to see like a slow motion replay, but I don't think we're gonna get it. But I think I actually saw sparks come off the car as he brushed the barrier at the exit of turn 5. No, excuse me, I think it was the entrance of turn 5 as he was turning in for the corner. I think the back end just kissed the barrier, and we saw a little bit of sparks fly. I might have to rewatch, like when this goes up on YouTube, when everybody else is watching it. I'm gonna be right there watching it too. It's because I want to see that at half speed on YouTube, because that looked to me like he did actually make ever so slight contact with the barrier. Less than 5.5 minutes remaining. That gap between the two LPs, Podstata and Pichata, has grown ever so slightly. Just as a reminder that that Mecha Alfredsson car in the background there, that's not for position. That is so it is just Podstata versus Pichata, Lucas Pichata, for that second place position. David Pichata still holding on to that fourth, with Siratek not far behind him. Remember, Siratek ran out of push to pass ages ago. It's been a while since he ran out of push to pass. So certainly the fact that he's still on the back of David Pichata is certainly impressive. If I were David Pichata, I would probably just use that push to pass now while my tires are still on the fresher side, and just try to build that gap from Siratek. But I mean, he's the guy that's running around in fourth position, not me. So I'm sure his judgment probably counts for a little bit more. But we're on board with Thomas Hora. We should probably talk about the cars that we're actually seeing. He's still on the back of Jan Rieger as they make their way down towards turn 9, where we actually did see some overtaking in this race. I was wondering if we would, and we did in fact get to see some action at turn 9, which is a less likely overtaking location compared to turn 1, but certainly a lot better than most of the other corners at this track as they make their way through turn 11, the final corner on the circuit, and down towards the start-finish line. Again, you do have to turn right, but it is very flat out through this right-hander, no question about it, even on heavy fuel with worn tires. Easy peasy, no problems whatsoever. Oh no, he very nearly did a Martin Nadlick, and I'm very sorry to use Martin Nadlick as an adjective like that, or a verb like that, but he I got flashbacks to Nadlick there for a moment, but he did manage to get it all slowed down, did Thomas Hora, and he continues to fight another day on the back of Jan Rieger. We'll continue to monitor that to see if there's going to be any changes of position. Now, I haven't really been keeping an eye on this. This is Thomas Corney. Is that actually the Benzina ahead of him? No, that was Michael Lehman, and Michael Lehman is coming into the pits. He does need to pit again. That is unfortunate. He did not build up the gap that he needed, and with 3 minutes remaining, he is indeed going to fall outside of the lead. That means Lucas Podstata is going to take the lead with 3 minutes to go. David Pichata using to push to pass. But unfortunately, we want Lucas Pichata to be using the push to pass. That's what we want to see as the minutes tick down.
Well, it's a familiar sight up front, but David Pichata, is he going to claim a podium? Even the single-seaters, it does look like it is. That'll actually be his first podium of the season. Wow. David Pichata he's been fourth twice, but that was in the GT3s. So look at that, Lehman, Rieger and Hora all in the pits just for that very last stint in the last couple of minutes of this race. Get a little bit uncomfortable. They sorted that one out. And Michael Lehman, what could have been. What could have been, but wasn't certain what tyre he started on, so that may well have been. Yeah, so I'm assuming as he's gone on to the... Oh no! From that camera angle, it looked like he was very slow. That's why this is coming out the pits. So still Rieger ahead of Hora, but that is now down into 9th and 10th position. So that battle is just... Well, it has been a battle all race long. And there is the... who's that right behind?
That was Stepanovsky, yeah, just behind, but a lap down.
A lap down, yeah. So it's very yellow and black in that section. Less than 2 minutes to go. So there's going to be a couple of... I'd imagine that Podstata's felt this one. He must have been really, really kind of struggling to maintain that lead for so long under a lot of pressure. And it has been constant pressure, near as damn it, constant pressure. Even he must feel it.
Yeah, I imagine he's really sweating. It's interesting to see how much he lifts his elbows when he's turning. Have you noticed that? Because of course we get these great webcam shots, which I absolutely love. You don't get these in most sim racing series, so it's absolutely fantastic that we get this kind of stuff. Slamming on the brakes there at the 300-meter marker for turn 9, and again, you're not even going that fast. I mean, it's not like you're doing 330 kph. Look at the way Lucas Pichata has closed up through the final corner. Push to pass being used by both cars. A bit of slipstream now for Lucas Pichata. He's going to be moving to the right-hand side. That means he's going to have to go around the outside at turn 1. He's definitely got the advantage, though. I can't imagine that Podstata is going to give up on this one. No, he does not give him any room, and he does manage to hold on to that position. as David Pichota in the background, he's using some push-to-pass as well to defend from Sirotech. I saw Matuszek using a bit of push-to-pass. He's trying to overtake Sirotech. So actually, the battle for third and fourth as well, that's really heating up. We're into the final moments now. Will this be the final lap? Only 20 seconds remaining. Unsurprisingly, Michael Lehman, fastest lap of the race with those very fresh tires on his Mecha All-For Sim car. And yes, this is definitely going to be the final lap of the race. 11 seconds to go. Push to pass now for Lucas Pichota on the run down towards turn 9. Is he going to be close enough? I don't think he is. He's going to have to slam on the brakes. Oh, he did it. He's gone. He's going around the outside, but Pichota again just about has him covered through turn 10. He's got that inside line. He's going to get him covered, really cover that inside line. Will he use the push to pass? Does he have any push to pass remaining? Lucas Pichota, he does. He's used it. He's used his push to pass. They're going to be so close to each other as they cross the line, but Lucas Pichota wins for the 4th time in a row in the single-seaters. An incredible performance. Really good job from Lucas Pichota as well. He pushed him right to the very end. An absolutely epic rivalry. But that does mean that Pichota is the 2021 VGP Drivers' Championship. And well-deserved. Absolutely incredible. It's shocking to believe that this is a rookie. Well, a rookie to this league. He's obviously not a rookie to sim racing. But absolutely incredible stuff. Really, you can see the joy, the satisfaction of winning a race like that against a competitor like that as well. To race against someone like Lucas Pichota and come out ahead, it's got to feel absolutely amazing. And I don't know what that feels like. I have no idea what that feels like. But Lucas Pichota, well deserved. Absolutely incredible performance.
Oh, and the Entropic cars are together. That's a brilliant camera shot there. So Matuszek just essentially giving his now champion teammate a well done and well deserved. Pichota has just been so consistent. Hasn't won every single race, but has won over half of them. Absolutely incredible. And Lucas Pichota has been brilliant in his challenge all season long. It's been absolutely brilliant to commentate. Now, we of course have Suzuka to deal with next time out, which will, now the championship is sealed, that's just going to be an all-out slugfest, and I'm very much looking forward to that. But, oh, what a way to introduce yourself to VGP. Bravo. Stand up, take a bow. So then it's familiar names up top with Lucas Pichota beating out Lucas Pichota yet again, but it's David Pichota that joins them on the top spot. Then it's Martin Sirotech, a very strong performance for the ESA driver in 4th. Michael Matuszek 5, Lehman 6, Senor 7, Moritz 8, Ryger 9 and Thomas Horror rounding out the top 10. What fantastic battling we've had so through the field. And Honza Ryger probably has aged a few years as well, having all the pressure for as long as he did. Krejcia, Kuzela, Stepanovsky and Vakulchik and Svoboda finding the flag. We lost Jan Seeger, Martin Nedlik, Alex Stander and Eric Vizzi in that race. What a race it's been.
Wow, really incredible. There is the confirmation. It's 35 points, an insurmountable amount heading into the final race at Suzuka. Martin Sirotech, one of only 3 other drivers to break 100 championship points, such as the dominance of Pichota and Pichota in this season. So to break 100 is a huge achievement, and Sirotech, I think, especially should be very proud of the job that he's put in this season. I think huge improvement, really quick looking, has grown a lot over the season. I'm anxious to see how things will end. I think, does this mean 59 points? Does that mean that, so Entropic, I think, are also the champions over ERT, despite that great drive from David Pichota on the podium, which is so unfortunate. But we still have one more race. That's it for round 11. For myself and Chris Buxton, we want to say a big thanks to all of the drivers, sponsors, and hardworking VGP staff, but especially to the fans at home. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time for the season finale at Suzuka. Bye-bye.